Absolute Rules Induction Training. Training outcomes. Know and understand what zero tolerance means. Know and understand the zero tolerance rules. Know how to follow the rules in the field. Know and understand the consequences of violating the rules. Documents related to training. Please ensure that you have these documents with you while doing this presentation. The training test, the revision 0, which you will be completing at the end of this presentation, and the absolute rules acknowledgement, which you have to sign in order to release you on site. Revision 0. What does zero tolerance mean? Zero tolerance means that it will not be tolerated at all. There will be no excuses accepted. There will be no exceptions to these rules, and there will be no second chances if you violate one of these rules. Why are there zero tolerance rules? Zero tolerance rules have been set into place to protect you from the dangers there are within your work. These are the dangers that you can control by following these rules, and by doing so, you can prevent incidents and accidents from happening. What will happen if you violate one of these rules? Firstly, if this is noted by a client, the company will receive a non-conformance and could be removed from the project immediately. Furthermore, you will be removed from site, and also the client could remove you and your team from the entire project. What will happen if you violate one of these rules? Within the company, firstly, you will receive a non-conformance which will stay on your record for 5 years. And secondly, an investigation will be launched on the violation. Additional actions are possible depending on the outcomes of the investigation in regard to your violation. What types of outcomes can come from the investigation? Depending on what is found by the investigation, you and your team may face the following actions. 1. Intensive training for you and your team. You will be personally trained by the safety officer and evaluated practically and theoretically. Psychological evaluations can also become part of the process, and this can be done by either a professional or by the safety officer. Disciplinary action, which would take place in front of top management, who will review the investigation, determine the decision, call you in, and you have to defend your case. Or dismissal, depending on the results of the disciplinary action and or the violation severity. Or immediate dismissal if it is possible to prove that you were deliberately negligent, or in any other way show that you deliberately endangered another person or yourself. What are the zero tolerance rules? Let's recap on the zero tolerance rules. This is the Ericsson zero tolerance rules, which we are implementing within Savuka regardless of the client we are working for. Please have the acknowledgement form for these rules in front of you, and please ensure to sign them. Let's look at the rules one by one. Always wear your PPE as required. Mandatory PPE must always be worn regardless of the task you are performing. These are safety boots and reflective vests. Always wear your PPE as required. This is also when you are working on specific tasks. For certain tasks, you will need certain types of PPE to protect you from dangers. For example, hard hats, eye protection, hearing protection, gloves. Your safety gear, such as fall arrest equipment or loading and offloading equipment, and any other PPE that may be required by the task. It is important to wear the correct PPE for your task and know to wear them when. And make sure by correct it means it must be according to the SANS standard. So don't wear the incorrect type of PPE. For example, when performing work with a welder, you are required to wear a welding helmet as eye protection. But when working with chemicals, you will be required to wear goggles which seals the face. Never transport any employee or person in the back of a pickup truck or a bakkie. No employee or any other person may be transported in a vehicle area which is not designated for the person. Thus, if there is not a designated fitted seat with a seat belt, you may not be transported there. Also, a quick note, if there's going to be loose tools or anything stored in an area, even if there is seats, you are not allowed to transport a person in that area. Never drive under the influence of substances. You are not allowed to drive a vehicle or operate a machine while under the influence of substances such as alcohol or drugs. You are also not allowed on site if you are under the influence. And please note, in both cases, a hangover also counts as under the influence. It's very important to note that if you are on any medical prescribed drugs, you must report it to the safety officer in order to determine the course of action. Your human rights will be taken into account and you will not be discriminated against. However, precautions must be taken accordingly. This will be handled as confidential information. Thus, only the safety officer will know this, and only you will receive the instructions, and you will provide the safety officer permission to inform the manager if it is required. Always wear a seat belt. When driving, always wear a seat belt. Everyone in the vehicle must wear a seat belt. Yes, the passengers too. If the seat does not have a seat belt, you are not allowed to sit there. The driver will be held responsible with the passenger if caught without a seat belt. Be a friend, remind all to wear a seat belt, and speak out when someone is not. Obey road legal rules and Ericsson vehicle instructions. Remember, legal violations could result in immediate dismissal. You are not in any way allowed to disobey the law. Ericsson vehicle instructions find the following as zero tolerance rules and Savuka enforces it. No exceeding speed limits. No handheld phones may be used while driving. Do not drive when you are tired. Take a rest. And on this note, take a look at the journey management plan. You have to rest in frequencies of at least 15 minutes for every 2 hours consecutive driving. And it's very important. Using a cell phone while driving is very dangerous. Thus, this will not be accepted at all. This includes texting, driving, or going onto your social media such as Facebook, etc. If you absolutely have to use your phone while you're driving, you have one of two options. One, pull over safely. Don't just go off the road. Look for an opening and a safe place to stop off road. Or You can let a passenger handle your phone, but you are not even allowed to look at the phone while the passenger is using it for you. Always use correct techniques. Always use correct techniques and appropriate equipment when lifting or shifting objects or materials. Do not pick up heavy objects. Get help. Ask a buddy. Or use machinery or equipment where required to lift. Lift with your legs, not your back. Please refer to the safe work procedures to see more details on techniques when loading and offloading. Do risk assessments prior to work. Do a risk assessment before you commence your work every time. Why is a risk assessment important? Firstly, you all have generic risk assessments. Thus, this risk assessment will not identify exactly every hazard and risk there is on site. These are risks and hazards that has been predetermined and is a possibility to be on site. So thus you have to do it to ensure that all the risks are covered and all the hazards are done and all the control measures have been implemented. And remember, hazards and risks can change as the work progresses. Thus you should stay alert, stay aware, and report if you see a hazard. In addition, always do your inspections before commencing work. Before you use any type of tool or equipment or safety gear, inspect it first to make sure it is safe for use. Electricity. Only competent persons. If you are not competent, do not touch or work on electricity. Thus, if you are not certified or if you are not trained and or if you do not have the experience, you should not work on electricity. Please note that there are only two people who is allowed. It's either a qualified electrician or an electrician's technician. These people must be predetermined competent to perform the work. Working at heights, only competent persons. If you are not competent, do not perform work at heights. Anything where you are elevated more than 2 meters. This excludes step ladders inside of the container and or equipment rooms, but still is considered as working at heights. And for this, you will need to be certified. So, if you are not certified with a US 22998 and a US 22995, which is a fall arrest and basic rescue technician certification, do not work on heights. If you do not have a rescuer, a US 22995 on site, a basic rescuer, do not work on heights. It is important to note a minimum required certification of both unit standards, thus a fall arrest and basic rescue is required on site. Thus this is the minimum. So if you only have one of the unit standards, then you are not allowed to work. You need to have both. Now, if you want to argue with us on this point, we are aware that legally you are required either or with at least one rescuer on site. But due to the amount of work we do and the type of work we do, we have found that the risk is too high to have only one rescuer on standby. And also remember, you guys are mostly 1 or 2 guys on site. You need to be able to rescue each other should an incident occur. We enforce this to help you, and we do have our reasons. We have fought this through. Please trust us and make this a better and safer option. Working at heights, only competent persons. Furthermore, we have abseiling. Abseiling requires further training, more advanced than fall arrest and basic rescue. Thus, if you are not a rope access certificate holder, you are not allowed to abseil. And please ensure there are different levels which allow you different levels of abseiling. Please refer to these before just abseiling. And it's also very important not to mix up abseiling and fall arrest. The following is abseiling, not fall arrest. 1. If you are suspended in the air to reach equipment. 2. When you are outside the perimeters of a working area. 3. If you cannot maintain constant contact with the structure. And 4. When you have to hang in any manner, remember, the working belt is only to support while your hands are busy. It's basically just a chair. If you have to rely on it to keep you from falling, you are not safe and abseiling techniques are required. Please be sure to understand the differences between fall arrest and abseiling. If you have any doubts, please just contact the fall protection planner to assist you in using the correct techniques. Do not walk under a load. Do not walk under a suspended load with a drop zone. This includes, but is not limited to, helicopters, cranes, equipment being lifted or rigged, anything that can fall on you. Remember, a hard hat can only do so much. If a container falls on you, the hard hat will be useless. Note, you must still always wear your hard hat. Yes, it won't protect you from the container, but it will help protect you from several other factors, such as small tools or equipment falling, bounce of equipment or tools falling, and should bigger equipment fall and break, it will protect you from the pieces hitting you. Wear hard hats when people are working above you. Remember, drop zones aren't always just below suspended loads. If people are working on top of you, they would have tools and equipment that could fall. Yes, there are procedures in place to prevent the tools and equipment to fall, but something could go wrong. So always wear your hard hat and avoid as far as possible to enter the most dangerous zones, which is in any way directly beneath the people or in the close proximity of the tower or area from which they are working at heights. Training conclusion. In conclusion, please always follow these rules. They are crucial for your safety. It has influences on the company and on the client should it be violated. But the most important part and the important reason for their existence is to protect you, to get you home in one piece to your family after a hard day's work. Training test. The training test will now commence. Please get your test form ready in front of you and follow the instructions accordingly. Please do not cheat on the training test. In other words, do not work in groups to get the answers. Do not ask another person for the answers or copy another person's answers. And the managers and training provider is not allowed to give any of the answers for the test. Remember, the test is done to see if you understand. If you cheat, we will not know if you need further training. You will not be discriminated against for getting a low score. This means you will not be fired, you will not have disciplinary action taken against you. You will also have an opportunity to retake the test without additional training. This will be at your own risk, and if the score again is very low, then you will be contacted and the training will be explained to you in whichever manner is required, and thereafter you will then be required to retake the test. If you have problems with reading and writing, please just inform the training provider and/or manager, whom will then assist you with completing the test verbally. Training information. Complete the required information for the training. Some of the information may already be completed, as indicated in red on this presentation. Enter the date of training. Enter the location of training. If not already completed, please insert the trainer name, the trainer designation, and the training method. Now complete your information under Employee Information. Enter your name and surname. Enter your ID number. Enter your designation. Tick the appropriate box according to your relationship towards the company. Sign to confirm. Remember that you are confirming that you have received the training and that you understand your duties and responsibilities towards this training and how to implement them in the field. Furthermore, you also confirm that you did the test on your own and that you did not in any way get help to determine the answers. Your results will be found in the bottom section when the test is returned to you after being evaluated. Do not complete this section. This is for the evaluator to complete only. Question 1. True or false? Read the statement and then indicate in the appropriate box whether the statement is true or false. For example, question 1.1. A safe worker is a hard worker. This statement is true, thus indicate true. Example 1.2 indicates how these questions can sometimes be a little bit tricky. Ensure to read the statement carefully and understand it. A tree falling in the woods with no one to hear it makes a noise. This statement is false. So indicate false if the statement is not true. Example 1.3. Smiling every day makes you happy. This statement is true. So you will indicate in the true box. And remember to smile at least once a day. As shown in the example, indicate true or false on your test form. Question 1.1. Zero tolerance rules have been set into place to protect you from the dangers there are within the work you perform, which you have control over. Question 1.2. Incidents and accidents can be avoided by following these zero tolerance rules. Question 1.3. Violation of these rules could cause immediate removal from the site and possible project loss and immediate dismissal. Question 1.4. If you are not competent with certification, you are allowed to work at heights under the supervision of a competent with certification person on site. Question 1.5. Both fall arrest and basic rescue is required as a minimum to work at heights. Question 1.6. Risk assessments must be done prior to commencing work. Hazards arising during work can be ignored. Question 1.7. A hard hat must be worn when walking below a suspended load, because a hard hat will save me should the load fall. Question 1.8. Persons may only be transported in a vehicle which is designed with seats and safety belts. No person may be transported in the back of a vehicle which is not designed accordingly. Question 1.9. When performing manual loading and offloading, do not strain yourself. Get assistance by another person or by using lifting equipment. Question 1.10. Zero tolerance rules are only applicable on site connected to the client whom provided the rules. Question 2. Multiple choice. Answer the question by indicating which of the multiple answers is correct. Note that there can be multiple correct answers to a question. For example, what needs to be checked on your vehicle daily? A. Tires. B. Oil. C. Engine water. D. Seat covers. In this example, A, B, and C are correct. Thus, indicate that they are correct. D. Seat covers do not need to be checked daily and thus can be indicated as incorrect as shown. As shown in the example, indicate which of the multiple choice answers is correct on your test form. Question 2.1. What does zero tolerance mean? A. That a violation will not be tolerated. B. No excuses will be accepted. C. No exceptions to the rules. D. No second chances. Question 2.2. Whom can report a violation of these rules? A. The client. B. The team leaders, managers or supervisors. C. A person who observes a violation. D. Only an auditor or client representative. Question 2.3. What makes a person competent? A. Certification. B. Experience. C. Training. D. A combination of A, B, and C. Question 2.4. What rules apply when driving? A. Never exceed speed limits. B. Never use a handheld phone whilst driving. C. Do not drive when tired. D. Never drive under the influence of substances such as alcohol and/or drugs. Question 2.5. Whom may perform electrical work? A. A qualified electrician. B. Only an electrical engineer. C. Any person at their own risk. D. Electrical technician. Question 3. Match column A to column B. Match what is in column A with the appropriate statement in column B by drawing a line between the two matching points. Note, this can be pictures or words, and one point in column A will not have multiple options in column B. For example, you can have pictures or words as indicated in the example below. 3.1 is a tree, thus draw the line between 3.1 and B. 3.2 is a flower, thus a line would be drawn between 3.2 and A. The same goes for the words. Look for the statement that matches the word in column A. 3.3 would be a natural liquid, thus 3.3 would go to D, and rock or stone is a natural substance, a solid aggregate of one or more minerals, which would mean 3.4 would go to C. Thus, just draw the line between the answers. As shown in the example, indicate by drawing a line between column A and the matching statement in column B on your test form. Choose the option that matches the image. 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 Training completed. Thank you for completing this training. Now there's a couple of steps to finalize the training. First, send the completed tests to the safety officer. Then, also ensure that the safety officer has all the details of the persons taking the training test. This includes IDs, copies, and contact numbers. Your results will be sent to you. If you passed, you will receive a certificate with your results. If failed, you will receive instructions in order to get you competent. Please remember that this training is not certified and is not CETA accredited training. This is in-house training, and thus a certification will not be valid at any other company outside of Savuka Telecoms. Thank you.